Dear learners, I am Christina Georgy, your academic counselor, and I welcome you to my session. Today we will discuss the play titled Arms and the Man, written by the Irish playwright Bernard Shaw. So in our previous session we discussed in detail the summary. Now we will have a detailed analysis on the major characters of the play. Alright. Firstly, we will focus our attention towards Raina. So once you have a question on character analysis, it's not the story that they are expecting. They are expecting you to pick up the characteristics and to explain and elaborate with the help of instances from the play. That is how you need to structure your answer when they ask you a character analysis question. And it is in order to aid you for that matter that your study material has presented a detailed analysis. If you look at section 11.4 of your study material, you can see detailed explanation on the character analysis. There you can also see instances from the textbook. Right now, due to our time constraints, I am just focusing on the major points that you will have to write for your examination. So Raina, she is presented as a very young lady. Initially we have this idea that she must be around 17, but later we get to know that she is around 23 years of age. So she is a young lady whose notions are derived from her reading of romances and novels. It is mentioned in the text that, by text I am referring to the drama, the play. Alright. Yes, it is mentioned there that she used to read these romantic novels written by Byron, Pushkin and others. And it is because of these readings that she has got a lot of fiction in her head and she is extremely romantic in her view of life. Similarly, war, in her view, is an opportunity for the soldier to earn glory. It's all about the glory of being a soldier, even if it is by dying. Even death is considered something glorious, as if a glorious act by Raina. For this reason, she thinks that Sergius has performed a supremely heroic deed in the battlefield. We know that she at that time was engaged to Sergius, and in her mind he used to be a very glorified, valiant hero. So we can say that Raina has unrealistic ideas regarding love and war. About love, she has this artificial and pompous dialogues with Sergius, and it's quite unrealistic. Both Raina and Sergius are posing and pretending. Why is that so? They behave as though they are searching for something divine. They always have this notion of ideal love, high love, etc. So Raina, even in Act 1, we can say it's more like a love at first sight incident. She is attracted towards Bluntschli. Remember, she has been the fiancé of Sergius, but still she got attracted by Bluntschli, and there we see Bluntschli as if a very realistic and practical person. Despite being realistic, he is quite humorous too. But Raina, she is young and very impulsive. At the same time, she is very kind-hearted and noble. We understand that by her act of protecting Bluntschli, she shows sympathy and pity towards Bluntschli's helplessness, and she also admires him, right, for his realistic temperament. So we can say that she has a trusting nature and she also has faith in Sergius. That is evident when she actually finds Louka flirting with Sergius. She didn't overreact, and even after understanding the fact that they had been having an affair, she gently accepts that, and she accepts Bluntschli as if her fiancé. So throughout the drama, we see how Raina is presented as if an unrealistic person, as if a person with unrealistic ideas. She over-glorifies love and war, and she has a very trusting nature. So this would do as if a character analysis on Raina. So if that is a question for your TEE, you need to explain on all these aspects with instances from the textbook. Don't you worry, it's detailedly given in your textbook. Now we look at Bluntschli is one other significant major character of the play. So what do you mean by a major character? Major character is one of the central characters of this particular play, and around this one or more main characters that this entire play revolves around. It is on the basis of this one or more central characters, major characters, that the entire plot of the play revolves around. So one significant character is Bluntschli. Towards the beginning of the play, once he enters Raina's room at night itself, he is being described as a man at around 35 years of age, of middle stature, and with a strong neck and shoulder. He has a round face, quick eyes, he is shabby, unkempt. Remember, he was hungry and exhausted. So his face reflects a humorous disposition, and his energetic body indicates that he is not a man to be trifled with. So about his experience of war, this experience taught him not to believe in heroism. He was not somebody who was into heroism and glorification of war. So he has no glorious visions of war, and he believes that every soldier should try his best to save his own life. Raina used to believe that every soldier should have a glorified death, if at all they have to, at the battlefield. But according to Bluntschli, he was of the opinion that every soldier should try his level best to save his own life. According to him, what was the duty of a soldier? The duty of a soldier was to live a long life, as long as he can, and avoid getting killed on the battlefield. It is there that we see contrasts between Sergius and Bluntschli. We discussed this matter throughout our discussion, so I am not repeating it. Remember that we can consider Bluntschli as a foil to Sergius. Foil is somebody who has totally opposite characterization to someone else. So Bluntschli into Sergius, they have opposite characters. Moving back to Bluntschli, he is a shrewd judge of human nature. He is practical. Remember, he is anti-romantic to a large extent. He doesn't have these unrealistic romantic dialogues with Raina like the way Sergius has. He calls her my queen, but we don't see Bluntschli doing any such acts of dialogues. So in this regard, he is antithetical to Raina and Sergius, who are romantic, sentimental, and who live in a world of unreality. Who are Raina and Sergius? So Bluntschli is a very practical and realistic person. Now we'll focus our attention towards Sergius. We'll firstly consider his physical description. He is considered as if a tall, romantically handsome man with high spirit. As I mentioned, he lives in a very unreal world and realistic ideas are there. He too, like Raina, indulges in the fantasy of higher love. He addresses Raina as my queen, as my saint, etc. He treats Raina as a model of perfection and believes that she does not have any shortcomings or weaknesses. How untrue is that? Every person has plus and minus. So that was the unrealistic notion that Raina and Sergius had. So as soon as he comes to know that Raina had these feelings towards Bluntschli, Sergius realizes that his ideals are collapsing. He had an affair with Louka, and she tried her best to exploit his vanity and his false sense of humor. In that way, we can say that Sergius lacks understanding of not just military affairs but also human nature. And remember, for your TE, if this question comes, you need to write about how Sergius can be considered as if a foil to Bluntschli. Remember the key word F-O-I-L, foil. Now, a quick mention on Louka. Louka is the maid servant of the Petkoff family, and she is quite significant when you mention the class distinctions of this particular play. About her appearance, she is a very proud and pretty girl and she wears double apron, it is said, and she is quite insolent. She is afraid of Catherine, and she is a woman of humble origins. Even though she is quite aspirant in marrying a rich man, it is just to climb the social ladder. There comes the significance of class distinctions in the play. She was initially betrothed to Nicola. Later, she has this affair with Sergius, and finally, this results in her engagement with Sergius. So, we can say that Louka uses her beauty and attractiveness to make Sergius interested in her, and she, in a way, exploits Sergius' vanity and uses it to her advantage. And ultimately, she wins over him. Her sharpness and observant nature are quite appreciable, and these are evident in Act 1. Remember, we explained all these while we discussed the summary. So these are the main characters. There are quite a few minor characters. I already explained them. They include Nicola, then Mrs. Petkoff named Catherine. There, Mr. Petkoff is there. There is a friend of Bluntschli. We had a discussion on all these people. So that's all regarding the detailed summary and character analysis of Arms and the Man by Bernard Shaw. We have discussed the critical aspects of the play in another session. So that's all regarding Arms and the Man. I hope you understood. Thank you for joining.